The first time I saw Camila, she was framed by the dust light pouring through the distillery gates, the sound of cicadas swelling like they wanted to announce her. She carried a satchel of notebooks and wore her hair pulled back in a braid that said she wasn't here for ceremony. I'd been pacing since sunrise, waiting for someone from the historical commission, praying they'd help me shore up the archive before the auditors arrived at week's end. "I'm Camilla," she said, voice careful, not cold. "I'm told you needed an extra pair of eyes." I forced a smile, but my hands were restless. Eyes, hands, miracles, anything you can offer. Behind us, the copper stills caught the morning light, their surfaces dulled by years of ash and sweat. I hadn't touched mezcal since my spouse's funeral. The smell still stung my throat. But the land papers wouldn't protect themselves. Developers circled like vultures, claiming our family had no right to this earth. Without proof of history, we were nothing but squatters on our own soil. Camilla followed me across the courtyard, her boots crunching gravel, until we reached a cellar door swollen shut with humidity. My cousin used to joke that it was the oldest lock in Oaxaca. I pressed my shoulder against the wood, but it groaned without budging. Camilla dropped her bag, knelt, and slid a pin from her braid. I couldn't help it. I laughed. "You came prepared for more than paper?" She said, "Archives hide in strange places." The pin scraped, the lock clicked, and together we shoved the door wide open. The smell hit us first, earthy, sour, threaded with smoke. A lantern hissed to life when Camilla struck a match, throwing shadows over stacked barrels, some marked, some blank. She brushed dust from one barrel, squinting. "This label doesn't match the ledger entry I saw outside." She tugged at the accession tag, dangling from its twine. The ink bled, the handwriting unfamiliar, the date older than any I'd filed. My chest tightened. If this tag was real, then half our records were incomplete or doctored. "We'll need to cross-reference it," she said, tucking the tag into her notebook. Her tone was matter-of-fact, but I felt exposed, as though she'd pried me open along with the door. I busied myself stacking loose papers onto crates, trying not to notice how the lantern gilded her cheekbones. The soft clock already ticked in my head. 5 days until the audit. 5 days until they decided whether this distillery, my grief's only anchor, was ours to keep. For a moment, we worked in silence, just the shuffle of parchment, the scrape of wood. I let myself believe maybe she wasn't here to undo me. Maybe, if I was careful, she might help me save this place. By the second morning, Camila had mapped the cellar into neat quadrants. I hated how orderly she made it look, as if my family's chaos was just a puzzle to be solved. "You record what happened," I told her, brushing mezcal dust from my skirt. "But sometimes what happened isn't the story worth keeping." She glanced up, brown eyes steady. "And sometimes not keeping it costs more." Her words unsettled me. I wanted her help, but I wanted her loyalty too, and those weren't the same thing. While we argued, I thumbed through a recipe book my spouse used to annotate. Between pages stained with lime peel and ash, a photo slipped free. Its edges curled, its ink faded. 3 women stood shoulder to shoulder in front of the old horno, faces fierce with pride. But one figure had been cropped out, only an elbow left at the edge. "Who cut this?" I whispered. My spouse had guarded family history fiercely. Why erase a founding ancestor? Camila leaned closer, the scent of her hair like agave smoke. "This could be important. If women founded the distillery, that strengthens your claim." I tucked the photo back into the book before I could answer. My hands shook, equal parts hope and fear. That night, at the town's plaza, Music spilled from marimbas and laughter rose under papel picado banners. I should have felt lifted, but rivals from the developers' camp cornered me by the tamale stall. "Where's your proof, Lucia?" one man jeered. "Anyone can call themselves heir." His voice carried over the brass band, people turning to stare. My throat went dry. I lifted my folder of papers, but the ink looked weak under the lanterns, like lies melting on the page. Camilla stepped forward, but I shook my head. "I can defend myself." My voice cracked anyway. The crowd murmured, some in sympathy, others in doubt. Heat burned my cheeks. When I turned, Camilla was gone. Panic surged. Had she abandoned me? But later, back at the office, I found the lamp still warm, drawers open. She was kneeling on the floor, rifling through ledgers with ink smudged across her palm. "You left me," I said. "She was looking for what you couldn't show them," she replied, soft but sharp. I should have been furious, but instead my chest ached, because beneath the sting of betrayal was something else, the tremor of how much I wanted her to believe in me, not just the papers. The church bell tolled, already past midnight, time slipping faster than I could hold. 4 days left. By midweek, exhaustion weighed on us both. I dragged myself through the market, hoping for a distraction, when 2 men passing behind me hissed, "Falsified signatures, that's how they kept it. Everyone knows." My blood froze. They had to mean my late spouse. Betrayal curdled grief into rage. When I stormed back, Camila looked up from her notes. I told her what I'd heard, voice sharp as glass. She frowned. "You don't know they meant your family." "Who else would they mean?" My hands trembled. "If you're looking for reasons to doubt me, you've got them." Her silence was worse than accusation. That evening in the cellar, heat pressed heavy as confession. "You'd side with them, wouldn't you?" I spat, shoving papers off a crate. "If the evidence damns me, you'll give them my land." "I'd side with the truth," she said, eyes flashing, "because lies can't hold you up forever." Anger roared through me, but beneath it, terror. If she turned, I would lose everything. Without thinking, I snatched a bundle of papers and hurled them into the fire. Flames licked, pages curled black. "Lucia!" Camila lunged, snatching one sheet from the blades. Her fingers blistered, but she pressed the charred page flat against the wall, breath ragged. We stared at each other, light from the fire painting our faces raw. Words broke loose before I could stop them. "I'm scared. I lost her, and now I'm losing this, and I can't lose myself too." Camila's eyes softened, but she didn't move closer. The air was thick with smoke and what neither of us dared to say. The clock struck again in my head. 2 days left, and now maybe less, because trust between us smoldered like ash. Morning bled pale over the distillery walls. Camilla spread the salvage sheet on the table, its edges brittle, ink blurred but legible. She traced the words with a bandaged finger. "Look," she whispered. "These aren't falsifications. They're transfers, barrels reassigned to women relatives. During the confiscations, they disguised ownership to keep the mezcal safe." My breath caught. The accession tag from the first day, the misfiled photo of founding women, it all threaded together. My spouse hadn't lied. She'd protected us. And the phrase I'd overheard at the market, Camila showed me another ledger, unrelated, stamped with a rival family's crest. "The gossip wasn't about you. It was their scandal, not yours. Relief washed through me, tangled with shame. I doubted the person I loved most and the woman standing before me now. That afternoon, we walked side by side into the municipal hall, the festival bells tolling noon. Fireworks crackled outside, smoke drifting through the windows. Auditors sat stiff behind their table, developers smirking in the corner. Camila laid out the corrected archive, the photo, the accession tag, the charred page. I spoke the words I'd feared. Our history was hidden, not erased. Women safeguarded this distillery when others tried to take it. My voice shook, but I didn't hide. The room hushed. The developers shifted uneasily. An elder auditor leaned forward, eyes kind. Then this land is not just yours, Senora. It belongs to heritage. When the verdict landed, distillery secured, developers dismissed, the breath I'd been holding all week escaped in a sob. Outside, the courtyard blazed with festival light. I turned to Camilla, heart racing. I thought holding on meant refusing to change, but maybe memory survives when we love enough to carry it forward. Her hand brushed mine, hesitant, then sure. Then let's carry it together. I leaned into her, the first embrace not of grief, but of beginning. Above us, fireworks painted the sky in gold and crimson, their light spilling over the copper stills, the courtyard, our entwined shadows.